Okay, I would like to introduce Dr. Colleen Morgan, who is working on and will continue to work on our outreach activities and our attempts to make these discoveries public. Thank you.
First of all, why public archaeology? Why bother? Why tell people about what we're doing here in Doha? Public archaeology has been defined as simply any area of archaeological activity that interacted and had the potential to interact with the public, yet has been deeply implicated in sophisticated debates which have now emerged around heritage in general. Rather than presenting archaeology for archaeology's sake, that is, to understand public archaeology as fulfilling a deficit in public understanding of archaeology, Nick Merriman situates public archaeology as a way to encourage self-realization, to enrich people's lives, and stimulate reflection and creativity. So understanding that there are multiple publics and stakeholders who engage with archaeological interpretations of the past is key to shaping a more effective outreach strategy. In the context of the Origins of Doha project, we have both global interest in the first urban excavations in the Gulf and growing local interest in the archaeological remains under Doha. So why public archaeology for the Origins of Doha project? We must navigate between the deficit model, which is you must know about archaeology because you don't know about archaeology, and so we must tell you about archaeology, and the enrichment model, where we bring people together and have workshops and conferences and communication between each other. So public education is critical to preserving the archaeological resources of Doha and to inspire residents of Doha to connect to this rich, unique heritage. Right. Within these two scales, sort of more local, Doha-based outreach and global outreach, there are multiple ideas about what heritage in Doha should encompass. To disentangle these issues, I will discuss the Origins of Doha outreach in both local contexts and online. So what you see here is I'm doing outreach at a local school, and then you see the global impact of our website. I think this is our Facebook page, actually. And so you can see both one-to-one experiences with school children and very large global impact in Canada and Hungary is possible through archaeology. So first of all, I would actually like to give a shout out to our lovely media who are here in force. I'm really happy to see you. And Dr. Rob Carter has actually been quite good about contacting media and the foundation and reaching out through blogs and the newspaper, also giving lectures to media present on site. There he is at the Gypsum House with our very fine media folks from Qatar TV, who I believe are here again today. And so this is one scale that local outreach is very important, to know your local contacts, to engage with the media, and to actually cultivate an active relationship with journalists. And I believe Brett with UCL Qatar has actually done a fairly good job of this as well. And so this is more one-on-one public outreach. This is up there at the top, you see is our school. Is this a pointer? No, this is a thingy. Yeah. All right, so this is at the Gypsum House. We drew elevations of all of these houses. It is a 1950s house, and so I thought, how can I show school children how we see? How can I show a child how archaeologists look at a building and understand a building and interpret a building? And so we gave them an elevation, which is a scientific tool that we use in our archive reports and our presentations, and we turned it into a coloring book. I mean, it seems like it's very simple, and I actually highlighted Rose's work because she was so brilliantly creative. But we asked, okay, can you identify the old and the new parts of the building? And without fail, the children really got it. They really said, oh, in one building, it's not all built at the same time, because a lot of them are moving through this town and this space, and in their cars, and the buildings are zooming past them, and they don't see them. They don't engage with them. And so this is a way to make them stop and look and see. Drawing is one of my favorite ways to actually do this. And so we also had UCL Qatar students on site excavating with us. And this is another really brilliant way to actually move. Okay, so you can do a lot of outreach with school children, that's fantastic. But then going to students, university students, and having them understand this kind of archaeology is also quite important. Having them learn the skills of drawing, of measuring, of trying to interpret these sort of small rock walls into saying, oh, this is a kitchen. This is where people lived. This is important. And so then we have our lovely banner that we made for the Dow Festival, which Fahad did a really good job organizing. And so we doing things like going to events and putting ourselves out there saying, well, we're archaeologists, we're here, please ask us questions, please engage with us. So this is kind of a multi-level outreach. You get children, you get university students, you get the Dow Festival. I want to do more, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's see, all right. And again, another form of public outreach is a conference just like this one. So this is online public archaeology. We offer fairly basic online suite based on commercial platforms. While there's some risk associated with hosting project-based content on these platforms, the integration that these websites have offers wider exposure for the project. What I'm saying is that the fact that these, that we put it on Facebook, that we put it on Flickr, that we put it on WordPress, we can build a standalone site, but then we have to kind of say, excuse me, would you please come to my site? Would you please link to my site? And this is actually putting it out in people's faces, in their streams, and they're saying, oh, you know, my friend likes this, so maybe I'll like this as well. So, like I said, we have WordPress, which is our central hub. This is kind of our main communication area where we put all of our announcements and we gather all of our other media. Flickr, we have links, other projects, we have our Facebook page. So it's really sort of our central repository. We have Facebook up there, which is where we place most of our announcements, and most of our announcements are actually hosted on our blog, and so we kind of get a double click-through effect. And this is our Flickr page, which is a semi-legacy, older photo hosting social network that still gets a lot of Google hits. It's still quite good, but I think we might actually move to Wikimedia. I haven't told Rob Carter yet, but we might. And so this is good because we can actually show all of the photos in context. We have our outreach photos, we have our excavation photos, so it really shows all of the things that we do as archaeologists all together. And it's really nice too because you go to a conference like this and you have all of your things keyworded online. You know, oh my God, I don't have that photo that I desperately need for my conference, so I'm going to sneak onto my Flickr page and grab it. So each of these platforms offers its own sort of demographics, both qualitative and quantitative information. Let's see. We have, this is Flickr. These are just comments, and you see people interacting with the individual photos, saying, oh, I have the photo like this. Oh, I have some historical photos. We've been able to connect with a lot of people using this, actually, and them giving us a lot of feedback on it. The other nice thing about Flickr is that you can actually tag photos, not in the Facebook sort of way where you tag people's faces, but in a way say, oh, this was my house. Oh, this is where my grandparents lived. We haven't had a lot of interaction with that because Flickr is a legacy platform, but we'll try. And so you can get a little bit more quantitative information from WordPress. You can see this is sort of our hits over time. It's pretty good. We would like to do better. but we can definitely see the different countries that are involved. I'm really, really proud that Qatar is #1 on that, because very often you get Americans like me, British people, we come in and we say, okay, we're going to do your outreach, we're going to talk at you and do these things, and then we're going to tell all of our friends about that, and so all of our hits are from America and the UK, and so Qatar's like, who cares? So I'm really happy about that number. We'll talk a little bit more in a minute about how to improve that. But you also get some good qualitative information as well. We've gotten fantastic comments on our WordPress blog, talking about the history, having people actually come back at us and say, well, actually, maybe you can alter this a little bit. Maybe you're not quite right. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. So actually, people from are getting very good feedback on both of those things. The real quantitative place, though, is Facebook, where you can get really a lot better demographics. You can see, again, more countries here. Again, Qatar, I'm sorry, it's a little fuzzy. United Kingdom. India, interestingly, #2 on this one. And this is just the people reached. And then this is our fans. So it's 2 different things. And then Qatar and India, obviously, first 2. And so what I find really interesting is that women here, our fans are only 41%, men 58%. Women, we reach more women than our fans. Not sure why. We'll have to work on that one as well. And so this kind of feedback can actually help us tailor our online message, or help us to understand what ages, what genders, what countries are interested in this information, and how can we improve that with our target audience. Let's see. So, we now get to the future aspects of this. Combining both local, in-person outreach that makes archaeology and archaeologists accessible to community members and thoughtful online research has been very successful for the Origins of Doha project. We very much hope to continue to provide a strong presence in both sectors. We have a few things to work on. All of the aspects I previously mentioned could be more intensively developed for greater impact. A crucial, absolutely critical aspect of this is obvious. We need more Arabic translations. We have some. It should be first, it should be foremost. We really want more information and help and input from you all here today about how to improve on that sector. I'm here part-time. Full-time engagement would lead to a world-class heritage outreach program, and that would probably be bigger than the Origins of Doha project. But I think that people here are quite interested. There's a lot of involvement. I think there could be a lot of development in that area as well. And so a fully realized education program that would not just target children that do coloring things, but people of all ages and all backgrounds. And that is definitely where you get the full spectrum of outreach. You get from online to in-person. Can we go to family homes and speak about archaeology? Can we bring artifacts to people and have them tell stories? We have a lot of ideas that we'd definitely like to flesh out a bit more. We'd like to develop more and different online platforms. We have 3 main ones. Pinterest is actually really popular among women. Perhaps we can help our female demographic there. Twitter, Instagram, different audiences, keeping current, keeping where the audiences are, because again, Facebook, I don't know how it is here in Qatar. I need to do more research on that. But in many places around the world, there are no children on Facebook anymore. They don't care. Teenagers don't care about Facebook. And so how can we actually bring them back in and engage them again? And people, as I like to bring this rephotography project up, because it's been animating all of our outreach. It's been animating Rob's slides. You'll see it over and over again. You see it in the media. It is a very compelling photo. It is us finding a place in Doha outside Souq Waqif, obviously, and where a previous photographer had been, taking the photo again and stitching it together. It's quite simple, but it's so compelling and just brings you right into the past. I would like to develop this more. I would like to do a lot more rephotography, but also possibly bring it into augmented reality. In London, they have several people and places that you can actually take your iPad around and you can say, okay, so what did this look like in the past? And have a window onto the past. And then we can add to this the oral interviews we have. We can say, oh, this is the coastline. You can have an alert come up on your iPad saying, actually, where you are in Doha, if you were standing here 80 years ago, there would be waves coming across your feet. This wasn't here that long ago. So there's a lot of really interesting things that we can do to bring the past alive to different audiences, and I would like your help in telling me how I can do that better today. Thank you very much.